Hello everyone. This video is going to be basically a year plus on the wrist review of my Seiko SARB033. Okay, now I received this watch on the 25th of December in 2014, and today's date is January 21st, 2016. So I've had it for about a year and a month. Okay, and yeah, I just wanted to give you some quick impressions. Well, not some quick impressions, obviously it's been a year, but also I got a request on one of my videos to see about, or rather, see what my impressions are of this watch after the substantial amount of time for which I've owned it. So I'm going to talk about, not only the accuracy of the movement, but also, the fit and finish, how it's held up, the kind of activities that I've used this watch during, and just an overall idea about the kind of activities that, this watch can be utilized during. I also want to say that with everything that I'm going to say, later on in the video, that this watch is actually going to be handed down in time. Now, what I mean by that is my family actually has a tradition in which they hand down valuable timepieces from generation to generation. My father's Rolex GMT Master from 1967 was handed down to him from his great uncle. And I got my great uncle's Rolex Submariner. I also got his Yacht Master 2. Those pieces also will be handed down. However, by the time, like I have children, and probably, boys, I will not, be giving a Rolex Submariner to a 16-year-old, and I was kind of racking my brain, thinking about, I don't know why I think about stuff like this, but I do. And I came down to the conclusion that this is an ideal piece that is high-end, very reliable, very durable, without needing to, basically write a blank check for a kid who, honestly, at that time in their life, is probably not going to truly understand what the value truly is of that. Not simply in the monetary, not simply monetarily, but also in terms of, sentimental value. Okay, so this is perfect in that sense that it's not necessarily a very expensive piece. This will, if taken care of, will absolutely outlive me and can be handed down to somebody. It's a very good looking piece. It's very durable. It's the kind of piece that, it's sort of like training wheels for something higher end. Because there's not that many pieces, honestly, that are more higher end than this, unless you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars, either Grand Seiko or Rolex or Mont Blanc or, those kinds of pieces. So it's really the perfect kind of, introduction watch that'll give that feeling, or rather that, that understanding of what, the value of this would be. Okay, so that being said, on the wrist for a year, this piece held up beautifully. Let me see if I can get him focused. Really, there's been very little aesthetically, scratches or dings. And I've used this, in a multitude of capacities. I've used this going to football games in the cold, 10-degree weather. I've used this in the summer going to baseball games. I've used this in boardrooms. I've used this, in t-shirt and sweats. I've used this for work. I've used this for play. I've used this for travel. Really, this watch has been just absolutely incredible. absolutely nothing with this watch has failed me, um, in terms of what I expected of it. If anything, it's exceeded everything. First of all, as you can see, the polishing is still very, very beautiful. Really, only the most minute, you know, dings, or rather scratches, have occurred, and really I use those more as badges of courage in terms of, what this watch has gone through. And the majority of them are in the band and the clasp. Now, also, I will say that, with brushing as well as polished stainless steel, these kinds of watches are going to attract scratches. So the way that I clean them, I do not use a polishing cloth when it is dry like this. I did before, and I regret that I ever did that before. What I do now is I simply get it a little bit wet in the sink, and then I take a toothbrush, a used toothbrush, soft bristle, with some soap, and then I just scrub it down. And afterward, I can't describe to you just how different this looked from before the first time I tried that and after the first time I tried it. It was like I got a new watch, right back again. It was absolutely incredible. But in keeping with that, you know, I've used this watch in a multitude of different capacities, and it has never failed me. None of the links are popped out. It uses the Seiko pin and collar system, which I actually really like. It's something that you have to get used to, and you have to be prepared for it in order to utilize it. But once you get it down, it's absolutely fantastic. The fit and the finish is still on par with being able to go to board meetings and, sit with people who make six figures and still be able to wear something that, you don't have to feel like you're wearing something of, lesser quality. That's not what this piece is ever going to be like. This piece is going to be able to, hold its own against, some very high-end Swiss pieces. And the best part is that, unless people who understand and know of this watch look at it, no one's ever going to know. It's that understated, and yet it gives off that sort of feeling of higher end quality. Now, I will say this. I wish there was more opportunity for micro adjustment on the band. For instance, right now, my hand and wrist are a little swollen because I'm indoors and it's the dead of winter. There's only 2 micro adjusters on the band. I wish there were more. I put in an extra, if I put in an extra link, then it's honestly just a tad too loose. And I don't like it when it's loose because then it'll, sort of be in that in-between stage on my wrist bone, and I don't like that. So I prefer to have it a little bit tighter and simply micro adjust out. That being said, though, because that's the case, I tend to use this piece more in cold weather when it's outside as opposed to warm, because in warm weather my wrist tends to swell a little bit more. That also being said, because my collection has grown, over the course of the past couple of years, or rather grown over the course of the past couple of years, I don't get much wrist time as I did when I initially got this watch. Probably I wear it, maybe once or twice a week. The power reserve on this thing is absolutely fantastic. It actually, it sort of came into its own around 60 to 62 hours, which is above the rated 50 hours. It really is quite remarkable how good the build quality of the movement is. Reliability on the wrist, if I'm wearing it every day, it's plus or minus 2 to 3 seconds. I mean, it really doesn't deviate all that much at all. However, if you keep it in a case where it's just sitting down just like this, it will deviate probably about 15 to 20 seconds a day. That being said, it's definitely the kind of piece that you're supposed to wear. It's built for that. Not only the movement, but the actual case and bracelet, everything, it's meant to be worn. So just keep that in mind. I utilize this mostly for work. When I go on meetings, that I'm sitting across the table from somebody who may have, a lot of, liquid funds, and I'm trying to advise them on that, or they may not have, tremendous amount of liquid funds, and I don't want to come off as one of those people who, are, wearing a $25,000 watch, and trying to make them feel bad about themselves. That's usually when I wear this watch when I don't know who I'm going to be meeting. It's a very classy, good looking watch that I can wear and talk to anybody. And I don't seem like the kind of person who's showing off. This is a very understated piece. It doesn't come off in that regard. So yeah, those are my general impressions. This is going to be a watch. Honestly, like, I have absolutely no reason to believe that this watch, with proper care and servicing, will not last 30, 40 years. I mean, like, you hear stories about Seiko 5s with, the 7S36 or 26, whatever those are, lasting 40 years, without a servicing, simply because they were taken good care of. This being the 6R15 movement and having obviously far better build quality than that of a Seiko 5, there's absolutely no reason why this shouldn't last just as long, if not longer. Which is why, I've decided that this is going to be the piece that, I hand down initially to, whomever would be my first son. This would be their first watch, and I think that it would do them a great amount of service, in order to have a piece like this that is as rugged, but also as good looking as it is. Okay, so yeah, once again, guys, feel free to like and or comment below. I want to say thank you very much for watching. And yeah, once again, this video was about my 1 year impressions of the Seiko SARB 033. Have a good one, guys.